Awesome. Awesome. I think I am fully live. So that's pretty exciting. Um, I'm like a minute ahead of time. So if you're watching this, it is probably because you are watching the recording. Um, but welcome. If you notice me hopping back and forth between viewpoints, it's because I am dual casting. So I am live both on TikTok and on YouTube at the same time. This is my very first YouTube live, though, so I'm very, very excited. Hello and welcome. Welcome, welcome. My name is Sarah. I am the gardener behind Simple Sanctuary Garden. Thank you all for joining so far. We're going to be talking about fall garden planning today. So it is September 2nd. It is fall season, and it is time to get those fall gardens going. Now, I am in Central Florida, so it still feels very much like summertime where I am. But I know that's changing in a lot of other places of the country, and I really need to get my fall garden started. So that's what we're going to be planning today. Okay, I think I've got all my screens handled. Maybe not. If you notice me hopping back and forth between, I'm getting like 5 million notifications, of course. If you see me hopping back and forth between viewpoints, it's because I'm dual casting between TikTok and YouTube. But again, thank you all for joining. If you have gardening questions, please do not hesitate to put them in the chat. We can go back and forth. I really envision this as being more like hanging out with your friend while you plan your gardens together. So, again, welcome to everyone. Before I really dive in, I'm going to wait like a couple minutes because we've got like 45 minutes to do this. I'm seeing a lot of people joining. This is exciting. Hello, everybody. Also, today has been crazy. So, for anyone who's been on any of my lives before, you will know that something always goes like horrendously awry. And that happened this morning. So, we woke up and every bulb in our bedroom had blown, so the lights wouldn't turn on at all. And then I went out into the living room after feeding Bubba, and I was going to like have my coffee and watch some TV, and the TV wouldn't turn on either. So either it's a really terrible coincidence and all of those things blew, or we had a power surge during the night. I don't know. So it's been a bit chaotic here this morning, but it's been good. All right. So it's looking like we got some good numbers. We're a couple minutes in. So let's go ahead and start talking about fall garden planning. If you have fall gardening questions or just gardening questions in general, please let me know. Really happy to talk about them. It's like my favorite thing to talk about. Just got your garden plot in Dallas. That is awesome. Are you doing a community garden? Because those are very cool. I've always wanted to be part of one. Um, my friend Brooke, she lives over in Austin, had an incredible community garden plot. So awesome. Yes, you love it. That's fantastic. So, very first step of any fall, or actually really any garden plan, is to figure out what you want to get out of that garden. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I posted a quick little thing on TikTok about it. I have conflicting garden goals this year. So we just, we have a brand new baby. He turns 8 weeks old Monday. So like very fresh. And part of me is like, you should probably give yourself an easy garden this year, right? Like that would make sense. And then the other part of me is like, we're going to grow all of his first foods because that's going to be the most nutritious. and like the coolest possible thing to do if you're a gardener. Um, and those are not the same garden. Like those are two very different garden goals and not really compatible. So, um, I'm gonna just go ahead and go for it and try and like grow. My dog is body slamming the door to get in here, so I apologize if you heard that. I'm gonna try and grow a bunch of his first foods, and then if it's overwhelming and I don't have the time, then I can just do whatever, and I'll make it low maintenance by neglecting it. um, all right, so let's look at the comments real quick. I want to plant fall flowers with veggies. Absolutely. I'm going to be going over a little bit of what I plan to do for fall flowers. Again, I don't know exactly where you are. So let me know what zone you're in or where you are located, because my fall flowers might be a little different from your fall flowers. But yes, mixing flowers with your veggies is a fantastic idea. CC didn't know I had a baby. Yes, we had been going through the adoption process for several years, finally matched in early July, and we have a baby. And he's beautiful, and I love him so much. I'm a little obsessed. Dallas 8A. Okay, so Dallas, your flowers are going to be really similar to mine. You might have a little bit more frost than I do, but it won't be by much. I am right on the line between 8B and 9A. So just like a tiny hair warmer than you, but not really. Ray, he's so cute. I love my little Bubba. He's my buddy. He's taking a nap right now. I'm actually trying to monitor my volume because he's like on the other side of this wall. And I get really excited on these. So anyway, so we will be talking a little bit about companion planting. I definitely encourage adding flowers to your fall garden. Yeah, so let's get started. In the comments, if you guys can let me know what your garden goals are for your fall garden, that would be super helpful in what I say going forward. In the meantime, again, my main goal, I'm just going to go for it, is to try and grow some of Bubba's first food. And so what I like to do after that, or even while I'm trying to figure out what my goal is I will draw out my growing spaces. Now, I just have like regular size paper. So I kind of broke all of my different planting spaces up by theme and kind of location. This will make more sense in a little bit. And I just put all of those out on different sheets of paper. So for instance, my high intensity beds that I have right here, these are, both cameras can see, these are the ziggurat beds that are right off of my back porch in Princess Palace, also, which, also called a gazebo, but we call it the Princess Palace. And so that's the location where it's going to be fastest, easiest for me to get to, direct line of sight. So if there's anything that needs more attention than anything else, that's where I'm going to put it in those beds. So I'm calling them the high intensity beds. Let me check the comments real quick. We have goals for root veggies. Absolutely. Do I know any low maintenance porch plants? Yes. Are you looking for edible porch plants or just pretty porch plants? Fall veggies, but low maintenance. Fall tends to be more successful than spring and summer. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love growing in the fall. It is, first of all, it's way more low key. So if you are coming out of the summer gardening season and you're just like, oh my goodness, I am so tired and I don't think I can do this brand new for 6 more months. Fall gardening is really chill, which is appropriate. So fall veggies, absolutely, but they tend to be a lot easier because, if you think about it, tomatoes, okra, cucumbers, sometimes like you check them in the morning and then by the afternoon, they're already to something. So that doesn't really happen with fall and cool weather veggies. Yes, you want edible porch plants. So I would think of something that maybe doesn't need a lot of space. And if if your only growing space is in a porch, I would think of something that's more of a cut and come again. So leafy greens are great for that. Um, Edible flowers would be a lot of fun for that. Herbs are great for porch plants. I would stay away from your brassicas because those are really like one and done, even though they look beautiful. So like cabbages, broccoli, if your only space is a small space on your porch, I wouldn't do those because they, number one, take up a lot of space and then you only get one thing out of them. So lettuce, nasturtium. I'm about to talk a lot about nasturtium because I love it. Any kind of herb. I Dill and fennel would both be really cool and they grow like pretty tall, so that would be pretty dramatic. Aesthetically, that could be a lot of fun. So you can kind of incorporate some edible landscaping concepts to that. Um, Ray Ray, I have so many leftover summer crops like loofah, okra, and roselle. I don't have room for much. Yes. Um, I let my garden die, so I have room for a lot. But usually at this time, I'm trying to negotiate like, what do I tear out? What do I leave in? I'm a little lucky this year in that everything's dead. So, um, once Bubba got here, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not dealing with anything else right now. I'm just gonna snuggle the baby. So that's all I did in June or in July and August. Trying to grow tomato slicers for fall winter with greenhouse plastic covering a raised bed. Yes, I'm going to be doing the same. And I'm going to show y'all what tomatoes I'm picking out for that. All right. So I draw, or we've talked about our garden goals. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my head on straight. Talked about our garden goals. Again, mine is trying to grow baby food for our son. And I have drawn out the different growing spaces that I have and labeled them semi-thematically. So my high intensity beds, my overwinter beds, these are going to be those. I just realized this shows up as backwards for y'all, but my bad. These are going to be like those brassicas we just talked about. So my cabbages, I'm going to try and grow some broccoli. I've not been very good at that in the past. But things like that that are going to take all winter and they're going to take a lot of space, they're going to go in these beds. Also, these beds are kind of all mixed together, these groups. So where it looks like my overwinter beds on this paper are all next to each other, they're not. When you see garden tours later on in a couple months, you'll realize everything's kind of mixed up. I've also got lots of space for herbs. This is kind of a mixed theme, so it'll be like herbs, flowers, things like that. I might throw other things in there. We'll see. And then this isn't really a theme, it's more of a location. These are my front beds because I couldn't figure out what theme I wanted for the front. So we'll figure that one out. But if you are a visual person, right, I strongly recommend mapping out your space. I actually don't consider myself that visual of a learner, but the thing is, and you're going to see this in just a second, I get a little, I overestimate how much space I actually have to grow things. And so I will start all of the seeds, absolutely all of them, and then I don't have anywhere to put them. So I like to have an actual map in front of me. That way I will know how much space I actually have and how to prioritize which seeds or plant types. So for instance, this is going to be minorly, I don't know if it's going to be minorly embarrassing. I feel like y'all might understand. All of my root veggies are this pile. Also, if you're laughing right now where I was like, I'm going to downscale and have a chill garden, and then I show you this that is just root veggies, you can go ahead and laugh. That chill garden was probably never going to happen. And then this is like leafy greens and brassicas. This is bad. These are all herbs, flowers, and then peas and beans, and then just because why not tomatoes. So tons of stuff. I do not have the space to grow all of these. Some of these packages are repeats, so it's like I think I've actually got like 4 packages of celery. I guess I kept thinking I was out. Some of those are repeats, but it's really going to help me to map everything out so I know exactly and make sure the things that I want the most are in my plan. Y'all let me know if you have questions about this so far. Don't forget to let me know your garden goals. And your goal can be anything. It can be from trying to grow something for the first time. It can be, I just want a reason to get outside. It can be like me, where I feel way over ambitious trying to grow some of Bubba's food. I'm a little nervous though. So if y'all have been around, all of my tomatoes were taken out by a vole this year, VOLE, vole. My accent can kind of get in the way of that word. And it was going to be my best tomato year ever. My plants were beautiful. They were putting on fruit. It was so, everything was going perfectly. And then that rodent from Hades just took them out. So I'm hoping nothing like that happens in the fall. I don't think rodents really care for brassicas. Chickens do. So I'm going to have to guard that. But anyway, that aside, where do we want to start next? Okay. So I have all of my different categories of seeds. And this is a stage that I didn't really show y'all, or I'm not showing y'all on this live, which is where I just take inventory, see what's there. So I know if I need to order anything. Where did I put my pencil? So what I plan on doing is just writing in, so like what I plan to plant in each of these spaces. Now, like this corner right here is about a square foot, just for y'all's record. So you know what my planting space looks like. It looks like a lot when I've shown you all of these pages. It really is not all that much. So I have to be very intentional about what I'm planning out, especially because fall and winter veggies take longer. Okay. I can hear Bubba crying. He just woke up. All right. So what we're going to do is start out with the high intensity beds. I am definitely going to be putting my tomatoes in those beds. That's going to be easiest for me to check up on. That's going to be easiest for me to get to. So anything that requires a little bit more attention, I'm putting closest to my back door. I'm going to be most likely to go over there. So that's where I'm going to put it. And for now, I'm just going to put a T in those spaces for tomato. And I'm planning on only doing, I say only, and some of you may be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. I'm planning on only doing 8 tomato plants. And I say only because I narrowed it down to 4 varieties that I'm planning on growing. I am in Honey Hatchery. Thank you for the question. I am in Central Florida. So I am actually right on the line between 8B and 9A, meaning it is still hotter than Hades down here. And also probably explaining why I'm talking about a fall garden and also trying to grow tomatoes at the same time. 8B also. Yes, you are also probably still sweating like I am. Texas Carrie, I just moved my beds to a whole new area with hope of less pests and more shade. I saw that. Yes. That actually will probably help quite a bit. I don't know if it will help for the ant issue. I know where I am, ants are just like, oh, hey, raised bed, fresh soil. Let's go for it. So it doesn't really matter if it's shady or not. I still have to deal with ants, but otherwise, shade will probably help a little bit. Edith, I'm in Central Florida too. It is hot. Yes, it is very hot. That hurricane just came through. I was hoping for a break in the heat because of it. No, no break in the heat. Still crazy hot. All right, so I've started doing my plan out. You'll see the T for tomato in each of the corners. 8 tomato plants, which means I've lost a package. Oh, no, I didn't. 2 of each of these. Now I'm going to start more than 2 and figure I'll give some away. Some might not make it. I might sell some. I'll start more than 2. Also, I'm going to be, hopefully y'all can see this even though it's backwards, starting some giant crimson tomato seeds. This is really more to get more seeds of this for myself. Although I suspect because it's a slicer, it'll do better in the fall here. But that's more to get more seeds for myself than it is the tomato, because I started 15 of these plants this summer and that rodent took all of them out. So I didn't get any new seed. And I need to get back on paying attention to when M.I. Gardner drops more giant crimson seeds. All right. So, and I need to add in here, in one of my high intensity beds, I don't really have a ton of space because I've already got a guava tree in the top. Now I can put some stuff around the base of that. It's going to get a little sun, not a ton. So what I will probably do is put, and I'll write this in too, nasturtium all around the base of that guava tree. And that's going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to be beautiful because nasturtium's like the best. Y'all let me know if you've grown or love nasturtium or what your nasturtium questions are, because I feel like a nasturtium pusher. Honestly, I love this stuff. But I'm going to put that around the base of the guava tree, and that's going to do a few things. One, nasturtium do the same things as beans, where they will add nitrogen to the soil through their roots. That guava tree is sitting there. It could use a nutrient boost. It's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a ton that's going to put in there, but it's going to help a little bit, especially as it goes into kind of the dormant season where it's focusing more on root growth. That will be good. And then when the nasturtium die back, it's not going to be like where I grow a root vegetable and pull this huge thing out that's going to disturb the guava roots. It'll just kind of decompose in situ. So that will also help the guava tree. So I will put some nasturtium around there. Full disclosure, any open space I have after I get this fall garden started, I'm just going to stick nasturtium seeds. I went to Baker Creek with my dad back in May and got 2 new types that I've had my eye on for a while. So I got the Alaska Red, which is this really, really deep red. It's very vibrant in person. And then I got the Alaska Salmon. Apparently I was really feeling Alaska while I was there, probably because I was very hot. And this one's really cool. You see how it says tip top? There's a few nasturtium varieties that will say this. And most nasturtium, the flowers are underneath the leaves. So you kind of have to move things around to see them. The tip top variety is reverse. So the flowers will be above the leaves and you can see them a little bit easier. Okay. So here we go. Now, for those of you, if you probably aren't as familiar with my beds as I am, you'll notice that I've got like this big square and this little square. This little square, we actually normally call these beds the ziggurats. So they are like 2 levels, and that little square is up above the big one. And usually what I like to put there is anything with a long taproot, or something really like root heavy, because it gives it a lot more space. And so I'm a little torn, and you guys let me know what you think. This is just 2 by 2 foot. So it's not going to be enough for all of my carrots, but I can put a lot of carrots in there. And I think I'm going to do that, I think. So in pencil, so I can erase it if I change my mind, I'm just going to write carrots with a question mark. And that's just going to be like a general carrots. Now I have like 3 or 4 or more varieties of carrots. And since it's 2 by 2, I would then have to decide if it's going to be all one variety, if I'm going to break it up, what I'm going to do. But again, we're just general planning here. Texas Carrie, when do I start my broccoli for fall? I am actually planning on starting that. I want to say this weekend. It is the weekend, isn't it? So the back of my Romanesco broccoli and regular broccoli, it looks like their ideal temperatures are between 60 and 80. So I will probably go ahead and start those seeds now. Now being like this weekend, next week, but soon. And then hopefully it won't be too hot when it's time to plant them out. The other thing about starting broccolis is that's going to be like my early start date. So because of where I am, again, I'm in Central Florida. We can grow throughout the whole winter here. So I will be starting my first round. When I say I'm starting broccoli, I will be starting my first round of broccoli sometime this week or next. And then about 3 weeks after that, I'll start another. 3 weeks after that, I'll start another. And that's just so I don't have all of my broccoli coming in at once and have, 10 heads of broccoli all at the same time that I then have to eat. So if you're in a warm zone like me, also know, if you're not ready to start your broccoli yet, you've got tons of time. You've got like at least 2 months, if not more than that you can start broccoli. Should you start your sugar snap peas in Central Florida now? I'm going to. So again, we've got a ton of time. These aren't exactly sugar snap peas, as in they're not sugar snap peas, but they're kind of same ballpark. These are little marvel peas. This is what I'm planning on growing for Sweet Bubba. And I, again, am going to go ahead and start these. Now, their ideal temperatures are between 45 and 80. So they can handle really cool weather. But with peas, it can take them forever to germinate, anywhere between like a week and a half to a month. So I would definitely recommend going ahead and getting a jump and starting your peas, sweet peas, English peas, anything like that. Just because it can take them a long time to germinate. So those are a little bit more of a time crunch, but you do still have time. Last year, how did I start them? I think I had started them and then planted them out, and then we got a freeze like a week and a half later, which was very rare for us. My hope is that by starting them early, getting them established, if we do get a freeze, again, Central Florida freezes are not necessarily guaranteed here. If we do get a freeze, I'm hoping that their root system will be established enough that it won't totally kill the plant back. So that's why I'm definitely starting it a little on the early side. And I'll show y'all where I'm planning on starting that. If I can find the page. So this is my representation of all my growing spaces in my front yard. Ta-da! And I try not to drop it. I'm a professional. I have this really long trellis in the front yard that Hub Scout made me. And he also told me that if I can fill up that trellis, he'll build me another one, which I feel like was a really silly thing for him to say. So I'm going to put my English style peas up there. My mother-in-law also gave me some like French style snap beans that I'm going to put up there. And I'm going to give the Scarlet Runner beans one last shot. I honestly am really growing these more for the flowers because I think they're pretty. And also because when I've tried to grow them in the past, I didn't grow enough to be able to cook any of them. So I don't even know what they taste like or if I like them, but I refuse to be beaten by a plant. So we're going to try these again for the fall, see how they go. It should be good. But I'm going to grow all of those in my front yard. Definitely putting more emphasis on those English peas than anything else. But yeah, that's going to be this whole, I haven't written it in, but I already know this whole long trellis that I couldn't even fit on one piece of paper. It's going to be full of peas and beans. Okay. Where do we want to go from here? I guess just more of my thought process. Now, this side, or I just skipped a mental step. So I am thinking about putting my lettuces, my carrots, my beets, and I think that might be all. So like my leafy greens, carrots, and beets in these high intensity beds. Now this side is my south facing side. I don't remember. Sorry. And I guess I can make any of those sides that, because this is not actually drawn to location. But one of these sides on my guava intense bed gets a ton of sun and gets blasted. And if y'all have been around, you'll remember that last spring I had arugula planted there, and it bolted really early because of the amount of intense sun that it got. So I need to be kind of cautious about what I plant there, as well as whatever I plant on the opposite side, because it gets mostly shade. Now, this bed over here gets pretty even sun, particularly in the winter when the surrounding trees have lost all of their leaves. But for the guava bed in particular, I really need to consider where I'm going to plant things, because as the sun changes, it's going to get blasted. And I have to be really careful. But that being said, I also just realized I don't have any of my favorite lettuce. I don't know where it went. So we're going to have to order that. Let's see here. Comment from Missy. I found some viola. My Alabama's getting in the way of that word. Lettuce seeds at Hobby Lobby, and you're going to give those a try this fall. That is awesome. So out of everything that I grow, lettuce is my favorite. It's not very glamorous, but lettuce is my favorite because honestly, you can use it with every meal. If you're having a salad, that one's pretty obvious. It's a great base. It's so cool if you can make your own huge salad and the lettuce came straight from your yard. Anytime I make a sandwich, I can add my own lettuce to it. Just, you can use it really easily, really simply. If you're learning to cook with whole foods or homegrown foods, having lettuce on hand is a great way to get used to doing that. And also it will ruin you completely for store-bought lettuce. So there's that. But what I'm thinking is, so for our reference, sunny side, shady side, I think what I'm going to do is put beets here. And then my more tender arugula, I'm going to put on the shady side. I love arugula so much. And right now, it is still very, very sunny and very, very hot. So I want to get the arugula going, but I don't want it to bolt right away. So I'm going to put it in the shadiest spot. And then over the course of fall and winter, as leaves fall, that very shady side will get more and more sun. And so I think that's a very smart idea that I've had. So I'm going to write that in real quick. Also, I'm doing this part in pencil so that I can erase to my heart's content. Alrighty. So we're not going to get through all of my beds at all today, but that's okay. So this is what things are looking like right now. This bed is filling in nicely. I've got beets. I've got arugula. I think I'm going to do lettuce mix here and here. And so that bed, ta-da, is at least temporarily, rough draft wise, done. One bed down, 5 million to go. When is my first frost date? I probably should have said that a while back. So on the line between 8B and 9A, my first projected frost is like November 24th. And even then, Farmer's Almanac is like, it's only like a 30% chance that that's actually going to happen then. It jumps up to like 50% around Christmas Day. So I have a very long time to grow things. And again, frost may or may not happen. We got an early one last year. I think around the start of November, we had a frost warning, or it came really close to being a frost. And then we had a full week of hard frost over Christmas, which is unheard of. But we've also had other years where we didn't get a frost until like end of January, early February, and even then it barely happened and it was just one night. Like so nasturtium are frost tender. It will kill them. It was such a light frost that the nasturtium kept going. So, I just kind of go for it and see, like, know that if it dies back, it dies back, and I can just plant again. And I can get my spring garden started far earlier than other people. Or, I'll get lucky and there's no frost. Stephanie, you have a similar frost date. First frost is supposed to be in December and last frost is in January. Yeah. Are you like zone 10? Yes. So for you, also, I would recommend, just judging by that, I'm going to assume you have a lot of heat that you deal with. So because of that, I would definitely be going ahead and getting things started. Be very aware of your sun mapping. And then also the things that need more cool weather, you want to make sure and get started first so that they can have as much of it as possible. Broccoli is something that really needs a lot of cool weather. My mind is blanking on what those other things are. Garlic. Because you have such a very short time for that legitimately cool weather, I would go ahead and get those started so that those plants can just soak up as much cool as possible. 9B, I believe. Okay. And yes, you're very hot. So hot all the time. If y'all want to know why Florida is the way it is, it's because of heat exhaustion. Like your mind just stops working in August because it's so hot and it's been hot for so long. We start lying to ourselves in September that fall is on the way. You'll hear people down here be like, oh, I can feel it. It's basically fall. No, it's not. It's wishful thinking, but whatever gets you through. Okay. So this little 2 foot by 2 foot square in the center of this 4 foot by 4 foot is deeper. So if this is the bottom big square, the little one sits on top of it like that. And I had put carrots there, but aesthetically, I don't like that because, hear me out, the carrots are going to get really tall and lush. And I'm concerned that this side is not going to get enough sun. So what did I say I was going to put in here? Lettuce, beets, carrots, tomatoes. Was there anything else that I said for my high intensity beds? I don't remember. All right. I'm going to write underneath the carrots, maybe beets. And so that will put a bunch of lush green on the top. It will not be quite as tall as the carrot greens. I guess carrot greens aren't even really that tall. I'm thinking about when they bolt. I don't know which one I'm going to put up there yet. That's why we write in pencil, so I can erase. Now, all right, carrots and beets. I'm going to do, I think, another side of arugula. And for that bed, I'm going to put it. Okay. So even though this bed, these actually are right next to each other. Even though on this bed, if we're using the same orientation, this will be the shady side. Right now, this part is still very shaded because it's underneath a tree and there's leaves up there. So I can put arugula in that spot at the moment. And what I want to be cognizant of is that right here is actually going to be my shadiest spot in the winter. And I need to know that now because it's going to get very, very little sun. So something that I'm okay kind of delaying or slowing the growth of, which to me, if I've got beets in my sunniest spot, so they're going to grow faster, I think another plot of beets in my shadiest, which means they're not going to go on the top of that bed. That is going to be carrots there. This is like a logic puzzle. Did y'all ever do those logic puzzles in school that were like this shaped and you had to put the little X's? Do you know what I'm talking about? That's what this feels like right now. So carrots question mark, that's still a maybe. Beets question mark, although most likely they're going to go here. All right. I still don't like the aesthetic of the carrots on the top because I do want a little bit more lettuce, right? But I don't want, here's the thing. I don't want two sides of lettuce and I don't want like lettuce on one side, carrots in the middle, and then carrots again. I don't like it. So the carrots are going to move. That's just what's going to happen. And what we're going to do is this. Y'all may already know what I'm going to do, but that's fine. Okay, this is what it's going to look like. So, two sides of carrots, big thing of lettuce in the middle, arugula, beets. I can take the question mark off because they're definitely going to go there. Now I'm questioning if I want to put carrots on one of these sides. We do eat a lot of carrots throughout the year. You know what I want to actually put on one of those sides now that I'm thinking about it? I think I want to put my celery over there is what I want to do. And I think I want to put it somewhere where it's going to get a whole lot of good sun. This is not going to be my only bit of celery. I'm going to put celery somewhere else in the yard as well. But considering it's high intensity, it'll be like a cut and come again, quick grab celery. That's what I'm going to do. Voila. So these are, again, my high intensity beds. We did not get very far into my garden planning, but now y'all can see what the process looks like. So these are the beds that are in most direct line of sight from my kitchen, closest to my back door, what's going to be easiest for me to get to. If it's something that requires a lot of attention, it's what I'm going to be able to pay the most attention to, or most likely to pay the most attention to, just because of proximity. And that's what my plan looks like. Now, full disclosure, because this is in pencil, I will probably go back through, try and write it pretty, try and add like pictures and draw with colored pencils on it just because I like doing that. It's something to do when I'm watching TV at night. So, but this is how the base plan goes down. So you'll also notice I have a bunch of varieties of carrots. I have not said which variety is going where. Same with the lettuce, same with the beets. I will figure that part out. But I do have my base plan. And And that's kind of how that goes. I will be starting seeds in, probably starting today or tomorrow for some of these things. Um, I am thinking about trying to do plugs. I saw someone, and I cannot remember the creator. It's not a creator I follow, but it sounded like a really good idea. Who does like 3 seeds to a plug of his beets. And so rather than direct sowing, he'll kind of seed start 3 seeds to a small little plug, and then put the plug in so the roots aren't disturbed because beets don't really like that since they're a root vegetable. Um, and I think I'm going to try that. And so he'll just go in as like one of, so there's 3 of them. So as there's one bigger of the set of 3, he'll just pull out the bigger and leave the little ones, and then they can continue to grow. I think I'm going to try that this year. If y'all have tried that, please let me know. We are coming up on time, so let me check comments one last time. Stephanie, struggle with when to plant winter stuff. Yes. So, I kind of cracked that for myself at least last year, which is really, it's not that I want to start my winter seeds when it starts cooling down. It's that I want that plant to be past the seedling stage when it starts cooling down, because that's when the plant is really going to kind of kick itself into gear, really be getting ready to grow. And you want it in its optimal conditions when it's going to be putting the most energy into growing. So that's kind of how I think about it. If it's a cool weather plant, wants cooler weather, I want it to be on its like second or third set of leaves by the time that ideal weather kicks in, so it can really get the most out of it. All right, we are at time. I feel like that was a lot, but I also feel like I got nothing done. So this is my plan. Took me 45 minutes to process through it, but there we go. If y'all have any questions, please shoot them my way. I will be sharing this across channels as I go through my fall gardening process. I really love talking about gardening. So if y'all have questions about your own fall gardens, send me a message, put it on a video. If you have tips, hacks, tricks, let us know. That would be fantastic too. I always want to know everybody else's tips and tricks. But otherwise, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. It's nice to get back to lives. I have missed doing these over the past couple months. And it's fall, y'all. It's fun garden time. We'll talk soon. If I can end these.